Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and welcome to Best Kept Plans. Today's video is going to be a look at my June 2026 TBR. If you're interested in hearing about the books that I want to read this month, please stick around. As I said in my introduction, we're going to be talking all about the books that I put on my June 2026 TBR. I think it's been either 1 or 2 months since I've posted a TBR video. I might have done one for April. I definitely took a break from filming videos and I haven't been posting regularly on Instagram in the month of May, but I'm hoping to get back into a bit more of a regular schedule for June. And I'm excited to be filming this video because my TBR for June is fun and interesting and exciting, and I'm looking forward to giving these books a read. I did use TBR prompts to pick the books on my TBR for the month of June, and our first prompt is read a book with 3 or more words in the title. And the way that I ended up picking this book is looking through my physical TBR, pulling forward every book that had 3 or more words in the title, and then counting up all of those books and using a random number generator. And the book that we ended up falling on is How to Love Your Neighbor by Sophie Sullivan, which I was incredibly excited about. This is one of the few books on Sophie Sullivan's backlist that I have not read yet. I fell in love with her a few years ago and have just been sneaking in her books here and there, as well as her new releases, and I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to be a little bit of like an enemies to lovers vibe based on the title. I really appreciate and enjoy her romances. I think they're incredibly charming and sweet, and they always have a fun wit to them, and she just writes romance the way that I love to consume romance, and I'm so excited to have found her as an author and very much looking forward to reading this book. Our second book for June 2026 comes from the prompt that is to read a fantasy book. And similar to how I picked book 1, I pulled out all of the fantasies that were on my physical TBR and used a random number generator and ended up landing on The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle Jensen. It's actually funny because I have a lot of Danielle Jensen's books on my physical TBR, but I have never read a book by her before. So I've been looking forward to picking up something from her. I got big into YA fantasy, I want to say last year or the year before, and I think I acquired this book and the other few books I have in this series during that time, and then I just never got around to reading them, but I've heard wonderful things about this and very much looking forward to giving this a read and seeing how I feel about this author, about this book, about this series. Our next prompt for June 2026 is to read the most recently purchased book on your shelves. And it's actually really funny that it's this book. I actually did a little bit of like a mini book haul when I got back from vacation a couple of weeks ago, and I was able to pick up the newest release in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series by Dinniman, which is a series I've been reading over the last couple of months and have absolutely loved. But even though I was able to pick up the most recent book in the series, which is book 8, I didn't actually own book 7 yet because I like to purchase books in person, and every time I'd been going to a bookstore and had been actively looking for book 7, I couldn't find it. And so while I was at the bookstore that day, I ended up asking if I could order the book since I still couldn't find it in stores. And so I ended up receiving it in the mail earlier today. So it is the most recent book that I have purchased, and that is This Inevitable Ruin by Dinniman. This is book 7 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I finished book 6 earlier this month. It's what I was reading when I was actually away on vacation a couple of weeks ago, and I would have loved to dive right into this book, but I didn't have it physically. I cannot wait to get back into this series in the month of June. I don't know that I'll read books 7 and 8 in June, but I will definitely be picking up book 7. For book number 4 on my TBR this month, we have the prompt that is to read a book that was gifted to you. And when I get this prompt, because I've gotten this prompt or one similar a couple of times, I usually like to pick a book from my TBR that is an ARC or a review copy. And that's what I did this time around by picking Crescent Kingdom by Tessa, Hale. This was sent to me by Bloom, so thank you so much to them for sending me this finished review copy of this book. I believe this is book 1 in a series that has already been published. I don't know if it was previously published independently or if it's just that it's been a few years and they like redid the covers or what it is, but I believe that you can get the 3 books in this series now if you want to, even though Bloom just recently published book 1. So I'm curious about this. I believe this is fantasy. I believe this has something to do with werewolves or shifters, but I have not read the synopsis on the back and I haven't looked into any details. So I'm excited to give this a read, try something different. The cover is giving like romantasy vibes, which is certainly a genre mixing that I absolutely love. So hopefully this goes well. For the next prompt for my June 2026 TBR, we have Read a Sequel. And this is one where I chose my book very similarly to how I chose the first 2 books on this month's TBR, where I pulled out all of the sequels that I had on my physical TBR, counted them up, and used a random number generator. And I am very excited for the book that it landed on, which is Apprentice to the Villain by Nicole Maehrer. I read book 1 in this trilogy, but I believe there's a book 4 coming out, I think last year, and I actually remember when I started it, I was at jury duty, and I really liked it. I thought it was very fun. I thought it was cute. I thought it was an interesting concept where you have our main character who basically is working for a villainous character in this kind of like fairy tale-esque setting. I really liked book 1 and I definitely knew I wanted to continue on with the series. I've just gotten distracted by other things and haven't made my way back to this. And so when I got this book based on the random number generator, I was really excited and I still am. I can't wait to dive back into this world and this series, and yeah, I'm excited to pick this up this month. And our last prompt for this month is to read a 5-star prediction. And there was definitely a few books that I could have chosen for this, but I ended up wanting to pick something that was a little bit different than what was already on my TBR. And I definitely have a very fantasy heavy TBR this month, and then 1 romance. I didn't really have another romance on my shelves that I thought would be a 5-star. So I went with something a little bit more unique and picked Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaghy. I've heard really interesting things about this book. I don't know that I even quite grasp its genre. I think it's really more like a general fiction, but there's almost like a sinister edge to the story, a bit thrilling, a bit psychological. Like that's the vibe that I get from when I've heard people talk about this. I know it takes place on a deserted island, and I know it centers around a family and then someone else being brought into this family environment. And I'm just really curious to see what's going on in this story. And I'm really hopeful that I'm going to enjoy this, and I'm excited. I'm excited that it's added to this TBR, given that there's a lot of fantasy going on with my other picks. And that is it for my June 2026 TBR. I have a bunch of fun reads lined up for this month. I'm really hoping that I get to all of them. I haven't been able to check off every book on my monthly TBR for a while now, maybe February or March. So it would be really nice to do that again in the next couple of months. And I feel like June could be a month where I achieve that, which is really exciting. If you have read any of the books that I put on my TBR, please let me know some spoiler-free thoughts down below. I love talking with people about books. And as always, everyone, please be safe. Bye-bye.